the meeting happened yesterday. You've probably said this sentence before, right? I know I have. It sounds perfectly natural, we're just talking about something that happened in the past. But here's the thing, native speakers might pause when they hear it. There's something slightly off. Before you start panicking about all the times you've used happen for meetings or events, let me tell you, you're not alone. Thousands of English learners make this exact same mistake every single day. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize it. So what's the problem with the meeting happened yesterday? And more importantly, what should you say instead? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly when to use happen and when to switch to something else. Once you hear the correct version, you'll never make this mistake again. I'm Lady Show English, and first, let me show you why this matters so much. Picture this, you're at work, and your colleague asks, "Hey, when was that project review meeting?" You confidently reply, "Oh, the meeting happened last week." Your colleague understands you, sure. But something in their expression tells you it sounded a bit unnatural. Or imagine this scenario, you're writing an email to your boss. You type, "I wanted to follow up on the client presentation that happened on Monday." Again, it's not wrong enough to cause confusion. But it's not quite right either. Here's what's fascinating, and this is where it gets interesting for you as a learner. Happen has a very specific feeling in English. It carries the sense of something unexpected, something spontaneous, or even something unfortunate. Think about it. When do we use happen? The accident happened on Main Street. A miracle happened last night. It happened so suddenly. You see where this is going? But here's what you really need to know. Meetings aren't spontaneous surprises. They're planned. They're scheduled. They're organized events. And in English, we have a completely different verb for planned, official, or scheduled events. Let me paint you another picture. Imagine you're talking about a wedding. Would you say the wedding happened yesterday? Technically, you could. But it sounds like something went wrong, doesn't it? Like maybe it was a surprise wedding, or something unexpected occurred. So what should you say instead? Let me show you the magic phrase that changes everything. Here it is, the phrase native speakers actually use. The meeting took place yesterday. Now listen to the difference. When you say, "The meeting happened yesterday," people will understand you, but it sounds a little off. Compare that with "the meeting took place yesterday." This one sounds natural. The same thing happens with other events. The conference happened last month is understandable, but "the conference took place last month" is what native speakers would naturally say. Can you hear the difference? Took place has a more official, organized, planned feeling. That's why it works so well for meetings, events, ceremonies, and conferences, anything that was scheduled in advance. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so I just replace happened with took place for meetings. But wait, it's not that simple. Here's the part most textbooks don't explain. There are specific situations where each word works, and situations where it doesn't. Once you understand the pattern, you'll never confuse them again. Let me show you how this works in real life. Forget the grammar rules for a second. Let's just live in these situations. Situation 1, your office meeting. Your coworker asks, "When's the quarterly review?" You answer, "It takes place next Friday at 2 p.m. Notice, it hasn't happened yet, but we already use takes place because it's scheduled. It's official. It's in the calendar. Situation 2, reporting about an event. You're telling your friend about a concert. The concert took place at the stadium downtown. It was amazing. Planned event. Organized. Official. We use took place. Situation 3, something unexpected. Now, you're telling the same friend about your day. The weirdest thing happened on my way to the concert. I ran into my ex-boyfriend. Unplanned. Spontaneous. Unexpected. We use happened. Here's another contrast to really nail this down. The awards ceremony took place at the Grand Hotel. Official event, something funny happened during the ceremony. Unexpected moment. Both in the same story. The ceremony itself took place, it was planned. But that funny moment happened, it was spontaneous. One more example to really lock this in. Imagine you're writing a professional email about a training session. The training session took place on Tuesday morning. During the session, a technical issue happened, and we had to reschedule the practical part. The training session equals planned took place, the technical issue equals unexpected happened. Are you starting to feel the difference? Because here's where it gets even more useful. Now that you've got took place down, let me introduce you to its family members, other phrases that work in similar situations. Imagine you're a news reporter describing events from the past week. Here's how you might use these different phrases. The presidential inauguration took place at the Capitol last Monday. The ceremony was held in front of thousands of attendees. The event occurred without any major incidents, and the celebration went ahead as planned despite the cold weather. All of these work for planned events. Let me break them down. Was held. This one's perfect for events that someone organizes or hosts. The workshop was held in Conference Room B. The exhibition was held at the Art Museum. Notice, someone holds these events. There's an organizer. Occurred. This one's slightly more formal. You'll see it a lot in news reports or academic writing. The incident occurred at approximately 3 p.m. The earthquake occurred off the coast of Japan. It works for both planned and unplanned events, but it sounds very professional. Went ahead. This phrase has a special flavor. It implies the event was planned and there might have been some doubt about whether it would happen. Despite the rain, the outdoor concert went ahead. The merger went ahead after months of negotiation. Now, let me put these all in one realistic scenario so you can hear how they flow. Imagine your friend asks about the company party. So, did the party happen? You could answer, yes, it took place last Friday. Yes, it was held at that new rooftop bar. Yes, it went ahead despite some people canceling. All correct. But each one gives slightly different information. But here's what's really cool about understanding these differences. Let's go deeper into some real-world situations where knowing this distinction really matters. Situation 1, writing professional emails. Imagine you need to inform colleagues about various events. Listen to how different these sound. Email 1, professional announcement. Please be informed that the annual general meeting will take place on March 15th. The meeting will be held in the main auditorium, and registration occurs at 9 a.m. Perfect. Official. Professional. Email 2, informal update to a friend. Hey, remember that team lunch we planned? It happened yesterday, and you missed some drama. Sarah accidentally spilled coffee on the boss. It just happened out of nowhere. See the mix? The lunch happened. We can use this casually for any past event, but the spilling happened because it was unexpected. Situation 2, telling a story about your weekend. This weekend was crazy. The farmers' market took place earlier than usual. It was held from 7 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. I almost missed it. Then, something hilarious happened. I ran into 3 different ex-classmates. What were the chances? We ended up having an impromptu reunion that just happened. Nobody planned it, but it was amazing. Can you hear how the planned events use took place or was held, while the spontaneous moments use happened? Situation 3, discussing historical events. This is where it gets interesting. For historical events, native speakers often use a mix. The French Revolution took place in the late 1700s. During this period, many significant events occurred. The storming of the Bastille happened on July 14, 1789. This event is still commemorated today. Bastille Day is held every year on that date. Historical period equals took place, formal description equals occurred. Specific dramatic moment equals happened, annual celebration equals is held. Let's try one more advanced scenario, talking about schedule changes. Your colleague asks, is the workshop still on for tomorrow? You might say, no, it's not happening anymore. Too many people cancelled. Using happening for any event being cancelled. Or, yes, but it's not taking place in the usual room. It's been moved to the 5th floor. Using taking place for the official scheduled event. Or, the workshop is going ahead, but the time changed. It's being held at 3 p.m. instead of 2 p.m. Using is being held and going ahead for the organized event that's continuing despite changes. Here's something really practical you can use immediately. When you're not sure which to use, ask yourself 2 questions. 1. Was this event scheduled or planned in advance? Use took place or was held. 2. Was this spontaneous, unexpected, or just describing any general past event casually? Use happened. But wait, before we wrap up, there's one more thing I need to tell you. Here are some tricky situations that still confuse a lot of learners. First, natural disasters and accidents. These are never planned, so we use happened or occurred. For example, the earthquake happened at midnight, or the accident occurred on Highway 101. We do not use took place for these situations, because nothing about them was organized or scheduled. Second, regular repeated events. For something that happens again and again, like a weekly event, both options work. You can say, the farmer's market takes place every Saturday, or the farmer's market happens every Saturday. Both are correct, but takes place sounds a bit more official. Third, questions about the past. When you ask, did the meeting happen? It sounds casual, you're just asking whether it occurred at all. When you ask, did the meeting take place? It sounds more formal and slightly more specific, as if you're asking whether it went ahead as planned. Both are correct, but they feel different. Fourth, future events. You can say, the conference will take place next year, or the conference will happen next year. Again, both are natural. But will take place sounds more formal and more definite. And here's the final distinction that will make you sound truly natural. Let's go back to the opening sentence. The meeting happened yesterday. Now you know why it sounds a bit off. It's not wrong, but it doesn't have the planned, official feel of the meeting took place yesterday. Quick check. Planned events took place / was held. Surprising or unplanned moments happened. Notice these phrases in movies, podcasts, or news this week, and try using them yourself. Thanks for watching Lady Show English. Remember, English learning happens, or takes place, one chunk at a time. See you in the next video.